You see I'm dripping never gets.
What's going on, everybody? Eat, Breathe, Race here, coming at you with the post Scca Indianapolis runoffs. 9 days is too long. Just not. It was hot for the first 5-6 days. Let's see. My role was to take care of tires and gas this time. I didn't work on any cars for long. Our main focus was, for a few cars, the F1600 or Formula Ford. We recently had to shorten our side pods 4 inches, which made it difficult for cooling because that's where the radiators are. We did not change the radiators, which is something I believe we should have. So if you think about a triangle, if you shorten the base, it makes the hypotenuse go from like this to steep. And so the problem is that in a radiator, in a regular car, you're used to the air flowing through it like this, what we call normal to the flow. Before we had it like this, which is still pretty normal, but when it's like this, the problem is the air starts to move along it instead of through it. And the car normally runs at 185 to 180 degrees on track, and now we were looking at 200. So we went through a whole bunch of things like making holes in the side pod and changing out the ducting and etc, etc. I'll show you a couple pictures of what it looks like. And the main 2 things I think that we could have done to make it better is measure the inlet and outlet before we cut it, to make sure we measure the area of flow going in and out to match it afterwards. And the second thing would have been to buy smaller radiators, that way they would fit normal and catch as most air as possible. But I'm new on the team and my word is really not that valuable yet. So that was one thing we had. Another thing we had was a couple cars being down on power and us being short on engines to decide to make a switch or anything like that. So we kind of played musical engines, and luckily we had a car that we brought along that was not being run. Great race for the final day. So the days went from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday were all test days. You had to pay per day to put your car on track. It was terrible. Some grids were 50 to 60 cars long. You can't find much track space on that. So after that, starting Monday to Thursday was 1 session a day. And the worst part was that the 2 classes we run were, one was in the morning and one was after lunch. So we were there all day waiting for one other thing to happen. So yeah, we did get into a bit of trouble because one of our drivers had 2 cars, and the 2 cars actually ran at the same time. And he complained about one car, so our engineer per se took out the car he was complaining about, and the guy then went and drove his other car on track at the same time, and they noticed that there was 2 cars with the same driver on a track at the same time. And that's obviously impossible. So they wondered who was driving that car, and actually the person who was not even registered for the event. Like, didn't even register to get a pass to get in. He just, amateur stuff, Scca. We got second in both races, which was not good, because there was actually a magazine that came out and said that both our drivers were predicted to win. in the Atlantic race. We got to a good start. We held them off, but once our competition made a pass, they came up to lap traffic, and the gap went from 0.5 to 2.5 in a lap and a half. And a little Vettel was going off in my head like, blue flag, honestly. But that's racing. That's what happens. The other race we had was down to the wire. In the Formula Ford, there's no aerodynamics, and even though it's Formula Ford, we're running a Honda Fit motor. The rules changed a couple of years ago, and this class is the closest racing you'll have, because you're not going to pull away from the pack, and it's all about staying in the draft and waiting for the right moment to pass. And we have two drivers, one's 16 and one is 14. And the 14-year-old, he started, I think, 6th on the grid, and he was running 5th for a little too long. He got stuck behind a veteran, and when he finally made the pass, he started closing in little by little by little, and it was almost a little too late. And let it be known, with 2 laps to go, there they are, running 5. It went from three car front pack to 5 car now. And as they're battling, they were side by side, good racing. I can't record because I'm working. It's hard for me to record and work, be on the headset, and I can't do that. Actually, with that being said, when I finally publish, please let me know what else you guys are interested in seeing, and if I can, I'll gladly try to put more of that in there. But yeah, unfortunately for the 14-year-old, he won at Indy in June, and was probably looking for another win. But 5th place got into him, and he spun, and he went from 4th to 10th, and he was really sad. Being a young kid, it's hard to know that this is what comes with it. And some days you're on top, some days you're in the middle, and some days you're just at the very bottom. And it was a great run. We all cheered him on. He was very down, but this is racing. And our 2nd place, it was a great battle, back and forth, many exchanges throughout the whole time. Our competition, they run 3 cars, we run 2, so while our younger driver was in 5th, it was hard for our lead driver to hold off 3 other cars. So it was great. It was a great race. Our boss is crazy, driving us crazy, doing a whole bunch of stuff. I had to, for you new guys that want to get into this, you're going to be asked to do things like get a scooter to start. I had to go and buy a spark plug because my boss told me when I put in a spark plug, it didn't work. So next thing you know, I'm doing a carb clean on a Yamaha Zuma. What else? He asked me to watch over a guy who's been doing this for 3 years to make sure things get done properly. And I honestly, the car he asked me to look after, I've never worked on. So that was stressful, and I'll show you a picture of why the car wouldn't start after a while. We replaced the crank pickup, and when we finished it and we tried to start up, it wouldn't start. And I asked the guy who was doing most of the work, I said, did this car start before? He said he doesn't know. So that's not good. Normally you want one person to work on a car because they know what the condition was like before. And come to find out, when I started breaking it down, there was tape on the intake, so the engine is getting no air. I had to get lunch for a couple of days. I had to pick up laundry. That's what you do, man. When you're the FNG, the fucking new guy, you do what you can. The cars I normally work on are the Formula Fords, but the non-pro series. So I guess I'm not trusted yet, and I understand why. I've only been I probably only watched over 2 cars. Oh, I watched over Atlantic 014 for a day. It was alright. The gentleman was an older gentleman. We went on track and kept it on track, and nothing went wrong. It was the same car that the crank pickup got changed on. So other than that, everything went smooth. Chaos as usual on a race team. And oh, another thing, I did get a chance to go to a Honda Performance Development, or HPD, little party on the top of the. If you've been to Indy, it's got a tall building and on the 8th floor they had a little get together, and I met with a marketing guy from HPD and a head of engineering from HPD, and I got a really good insight on how they do things at the factory, because that's honestly what I'm looking for. This track life it's fun, but it's a little too chaotic, and honestly right now I'm feeling a little homesick. I've been away for 50 days by the time I go home, which is October 9th, so it's been 43 days I've been on the road, and every day at the track is hectic. It wouldn't be racing without it, unless you're on top level factory team that has their shit together. I also talked to Onroke and Crawford Motorsports, the manufacturer of the chassis for the new F4 series that will be continuing in 2018. And I'm honestly looking forward to trying to get with that, because F4 is a worldwide series. Even though it's run separately in different countries, the car is the same. And I think it will give me tools to go back overseas to England and begin my journey to get into F1 or MotoGP. Other than that, I'm ready to go home. I got one more race that's this weekend coming up at New Jersey Motorsports Park. It is the last race for the Pro Series of the SCCA. And I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to start some other things on my YouTube channel. When I was in Texas at the Coda track, I got a chance to talk to an engineer off of Black Dog Racing, and he said one thing that made him valuable was doing tire data and lap sims using MATLAB, which I'm familiar with, not the best, but I'm going to teach myself, and I'm going to get on SolidWorks and start doing some more modeling. And now that I've seen the different ways cars are designed, I can change or make revisions to a car I already have made. Yeah, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to work on other parts of motorsports besides the track. Until next time, see you guys later.